Hey guys, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. I want to talk a little bit today about a few things that happened last week. I'm going to do a little bit of a different format, basically just because it's easier for me. Now, it's good to do things that are easier versus harder. Sometimes making the videos is a little bit more challenging, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to do kind of less videos unless I'm really trying to show something to you. But before I do that, I want to share a little story. I got some feedback from someone. They said, Don, your format's changed a little bit, and it's true. I'm changing different formats just to try different things, basically to make things a little bit easier for me. And one is I'm wanting to learn how to tell stories. There's this good book by, I think it's Robert Knight, I think is his name, and he talks about storytelling and how this kind of captivates people. I kind of enjoy telling stories to patients. I enjoy reading books where they tell stories, and I think just stories help kind of keep patients' attention or people's attention in general. So I'm trying that different format. The story this week is I was driving around with my wife the last couple of days, and it seems like in Massachusetts here there's a lot more, I don't know, these exotic cars like Lamborghinis, Porsches. There's not a ton of them, but there's a few of them on the road, and it kind of brings me back to when I was a kid. I had that picture of the Lamborghini on the wall in my bedroom, and I said, those are great cars. You kind of think about wanting one of those. And then I was telling my wife, and she says, no, a real car is our Honda Odyssey minivan. She said that's the real car for us. It's not a Porsche. It's not a Lamborghini. And she went to explain to me the reason is because she can carry a sofa. She can carry. This weekend I carried a snowblower back to my mother-in-law's house because they are moving back to Brazil. And she said this is the type of a car that, because it's really practical. And I think sometimes the same is true in our practices, because many times we look for these bright, shiny objects, which we think are kind of attractive and cool and things like that. But what really works is the basics. And I've come to find that out recently because I'm putting together these heel pain workshops. And we did one in the office. I've told you guys about that in the past. But now I'm doing one virtually on a webinar. And it's kind of a simple, almost boring invitation. It's a direct response invitation. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but it seems to be producing. I've had about 40 people sign up for this, and the same thing with the ads that we're doing in the newspaper. We're doing them kind of like an editorial ad, so it's not as much bells and whistles like this is about us. We're writing an actual article about a certain topic, real short article, and then we're pushing people back to our blog. So it's not always like what the car looks like. It's not the Porsche car or the Lamborghini, which I kind of like. It's something that's more practical. What happened last week is I did an interview with Mr. Baker, and he has this kind of a cool idea. It's great. I think if you have 4 doctors and more, I think it's going to work. I think if you're under 4, it's going to be a little challenge. But basically what it is, it's an in-office lab. So instead of sending our nail samples and our wound cultures to a local lab or someone else that you may use, you can just do it in your own lab. You buy this little, I don't know, it's like a testing thing, and you have it set up. You have to have a staff. So the upfront cost is kind of expensive, but they have a couple of cool things which I liked about as he was explaining it to me. One is that when you're getting it set up, you can actually send your specimens to, I think it's Louisiana, and they do the tests for you. So you can actually start making money as you're setting up your lab, and then they help you hire staff. They set everything up for you. They help you get the loan. And I guess what he says, if you do about 100 specimens, I think it's a month, you can earn about $30,000. So that's not bad. That would be probably 4 doctors needing that many specimens. And so it can produce quite a bit, and you would do your private insurance. I just think it's kind of a neat thing. Now, another cool thing, which I never thought of, this is just between us, okay? If you guys are listening to me, not many people listen to me, but he, on the back end, he said, well, Don, if you can get other people to do this, as a residual, you would get like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's kind of a cool. I haven't thought about that method yet. But are there things that are kind of consumables that are repetitive that we can kind of produce on the back end in our practice? Now, why this earns so much is because you have to buy the reagents from them. Basically, they set you up with the whole lab, but their only thing that they're selling are these reagents to test in your little machine in the office. That's why they make all their money. And so let's say you make $30,000, but the overhead might be $60,000 or even more than that for all the reagents and all the things like that. So that was a kind of a neat idea. Another kind of cool idea is, cool idea. It was kind of a risky idea in my opinion. I sent out an email to a couple of different people. So basically I wrote an email in Google Docs, both a email to my patients and an email to other people that are like influencers. So my email went out to all my list. My list is about 14,000 people on Kajabi. And I sent it out to them, asking them to sign up for the webinar. And the title was, only read this if you have heel pain, or only open this if you have heel pain. And basically, I'm pushing people to a webinar that I'm going to be doing. I have 2 webinars set up in June. They're going to be 2 Wednesdays at 6 to 7. Why that time? Because that's the only time I want to do it. And one of those, I'm actually going to take them, I'm going to record them, and I'm going to have them be like an evergreen webinar on my website. So basically, when patients come, if they want to do a webinar, they can do an evergreen one, which is available whenever, and then they could actually sign up for one, which is another option. So that's something that it took courage to do that, because I'm kind of not hitting my list, but I'm sending things to my list. But I wanted to be of something value, and things like that. I still have this, I don't know, once in a while, this imposter syndrome. Like, should I do this? Should I not send it? But I think it's a good offer. It was really taken well. But the neat thing is, if you sign up, if you want to participate, you can just let me know. But when you sign up, it'll actually send them an email of this 1-page PDF download. And it's like I think it's called Ad-libs or MadWords or something like that, where it has like the main cause for heel pain with a little underline where it's not filled out. So I'm sending them this. This is what I'm going to go over. And I thought of a couple of ways of going through this webinar, but I'm not going to just do tons of slides, because originally I was going to do like a slide for each bullet point, but it's just going to be way too much. So I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm just going to put the main question up top. I'm going to talk through it, maybe show a few pictures, but really spend more time talking about things versus pounding through so many slides. So that was kind of a cool thing. That's kind of getting, I think, as of Friday, I had 40, and I'll let you know next week how many I actually have, but it's capped at 100 due to the Zoom volume, okay? So it took courage to kind of do that. 2 other kind of ideas I want to share with you guys. One is called ClickSend. Now, I've talked to you about ClickSend before. I've been reading Chad Madden's book about marketing PTs, and one of the things he talked about is, and one thing I would like to do is that when a patient is done seeing me and doesn't have to see me anymore, I would love to send them a little letter about like what we did and thanking them and anything else I can remember, but I just have a really good process. So I'm working on a process right now. It's through ClickSend. So basically the idea is I can just pull up Google Docs. I have pretty much a standard letter with our letterhead, and then I just altered like the first couple of sentences talking about the patient, things like that, and I save it as a PDF. Now, the only place you can save it as a PDF is within Dropbox, and then I add it to a Google Sheet. So basically that URL from that PDF, and then their name, email, things like that, I get from the EMR, and then when I add that sheet, that one line in Google Sheets, that it triggers something with Zapier, Zapier, and it actually triggers a letter being sent by ClickSend. So it's kind of a cool idea. I have to put in some content. I'm trying to figure out a way if I can use like an assistant. I can kind of maybe even transcribe what I want done or send it via WhatsApp, which is what I like to use, and then they can do a letter for that patient and things like that if I copy and paste their demographics. So something I'm working on, because basically the idea is all new referral sources. I could thank them for sending over a patient, and also patients that refer to other people, and then patients when they're done seeing me, things like that. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. Another cool idea I got from Ari. He's the guy that talked about a lot of like efficiencies, is something called repurpose.io. It's a way you can take a little piece of content and you can repurpose it and send it to like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anything like that. And if it's like under like 55 seconds, it can go to everything. It can transcribe it. It can just do. It's just pretty amazing what you can do with that now. You can do it manually. I've been doing a couple of things manually, but it's kind of a neat idea I wanted to share with you. And then finally, my last idea. I worked with Nicole last week. So Nicole is basically she used to be part of Strategic Coach, but now she does her own like virtual assistant helping people type of thing. So I meet with Nicole most Fridays. And what do I do? Basically, we work on something called either impact filters or experience transformers. These are 2 tools that I've learned with Strategic Coach. So basically, she's a person that gets stuff out of my head, and usually it's whatever I'm excited about, and then we're kind of working on things. So how has she helped me? Well, this whole webinar or heel pain workshop. She's the one that helped like delineate things, put timelines in there for me, so she gets it out of my head so I can kind of get it done. So that's the one thing that she helps me with. This last week, what we worked on is this thing called a foot treatment toolkit. So this is already something that I have. It's basically through Kajabi, I can make a course. In this course, I call it a foot treatment toolkit. And then it can be an app as well. And in there, I'm going to put my books, my webinars, and then diagnosis-specific information, and I'm calling it a foot treatment toolkit. So it has basically like any other toolkit. It has everything that people would need if they have foot pain. It's something I'm giving away for free, but I think it's a really kind of value add for people if they can actually see it, if they download it. The only drawback, in my opinion, is to get it, you have to put your name, email, and a password, and that whole password thing is kind of a pain. I like it when there's like a Google thing that can actually take your Google login to do it, but it doesn't quite have that yet. So I'm trying that, and she kind of worked through this idea. I think it's something that has legs, not just for my patients, but I kind of think of, well, how can I then expand the scope to more people? Like, for example, I recently did a podcast for the 6 a.m. run, and I was thinking, wow, this was cool. So he asked me about like heel pain and different types of stuff like that. But he has a huge list. So if I have something of value I can give to them, they may add to my list. So my whole goal is to increase my list from 14,000, which is basically my patient list, to let's say 400,000. With a list like that, I could have give a lot more value, and then you could do this back end things like Amazon links and things like that. So that's what I'm kind of working on, is this foot pain toolkit that could be used. So I'd have a section on plantar fasciitis, for example, section on the webinars, the books, things like that, all in one place versus having to download a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's the idea today. Let me know if you have any ideas or any other thoughts. If you like this new format, let me know. If you don't, well, sorry, I'm just doing it this way for now. Okay, have a great day.